Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 FM. I'm Paul Kretschmer. In the second of 2 days of conversation with Charles Fuschillo from the Alzheimer's Foundation, who is sharing information about screenings for Alzheimer's they are conducting for the public.
Now, every Monday and Wednesday, we're offering virtual screenings. Now, a memory screening is a simple and safe evaluation tool that checks an individual's memory and other thinking skills. It's only 10 to 15 minutes. We're accepting appointments for Monday and Wednesdays. Individuals can call our office at 866-232-8484 to schedule an appointment. It's free, any age, no insurance is required, and it just takes 10 to 15 minutes, and it's a series of questions to test your language, your thinking, and your cognitive skills.
Is it constructed at a level which may give someone a hint that something may be going on, but perhaps is not definitive in the sense that it's not like going through a battery of tests at a hospital, for instance, but it is perhaps something that can point a person in a direction to follow up on if they think there's something out of the ordinary?
The answer is yes. It's not a diagnosis. The test has a baseline. If you score below the baseline, we do make recommendations that you get further screening with your primary care physician. But, like every other test we take on our annual physicals, you get a baseline. Mm-hmm. We encourage individuals to get a checkup from the neck up.
Okay, well, that's a really great way of putting it, actually. It really zeroes in on the concept. As far as the creation of that type of screening test, what kind of resources or what kind of people went into creating that for you?
It's a mini COG, memory impairment screening. The test is used to, again, effectively be administered by individuals that are trained by AFA or AFA personnel as well. Okay.
And you said that it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to perform?
That's correct. And it's one-on-one. It's virtual. You could do it from your computer, from your tablet, from your phone, but it's confidential, and it's done between the individual who seeks the memory screening and a qualified, trained AFA employee.
Okay. And as far as taking the results, then you mentioned a moment ago that if the score is below a certain point, you do make recommendations for the person who took the test to follow up with their physician. Would that be a good idea, even if they're not at that point, but maybe just a little bit above it?
The answer is yes. One of the things we're also doing is educating clinicians throughout the entire country. We just completed a continuing education for doctors, and it's our initiative, Checkup from the Neck Up, seminars, educational conferences. We have 3 more this year, virtually around the country, and we feel it's critically important that as part of a routine primary care checkup from your doctor, the checkup from the neck up should be part of that physical.
Are there an increasing number of physicians and other medically trained researchers who are more likely to be, how shall I say it, I guess from the college experience I had, majoring in that particular spectrum of disorders, who are more knowledgeable about it now than the average practitioner might have been even 10 years ago?
It is because of the awareness, but less and less medical students are going into geriatric care, which is always a concern as we have an aging population throughout our entire country. But the awareness of Alzheimer's disease is always increasing, and that's one of our goals. One of the initiatives we do in November, in fact, this year on November 5th, our awareness color is teal, and we have buildings throughout the entire country and the world that light up in teal to create Alzheimer's awareness. And it's so critically important that people are aware of the disease, they're better educated, and they know that there are support services that are available.
As a person, as the head of your organization at the current time, would you care to speculate on why there may be fewer practitioners in geriatrics at the same time that the population, as a result of the baby boomer generation, is working its way through the system right now?
It's always an unanswered question. It's really challenging to get, but I know that more and more hospitals are affiliated with medical schools throughout the country and encouraging general practitioners to get involved with geriatric care, and it's so critically important because, we need to find better treatment. We need to find a cure for this disease as well.
I've noticed here in the state of Connecticut that more hospitals are affiliating with one or more of the larger hospital institutions in the state, and part of the rationale for that is that medical professionals in maybe the smaller or off the beaten track, shall we say, gain access through services through that affiliation that they might not have had otherwise. Is that a development on that basis, not discussing any other points of that, of a potential argument? Is that worthwhile for that to be happening?
Yeah, it is. You see more and more joining forces together. It's probably economics, I'm sure, is part of a reason, but that's a business decision. But, listen, as long as the care is accessible and affordable, it's critically important that people have that access.
As far as people, getting back to the potential patient, is that because of the existence of Alzheimer's, should people be aware or become better aware of the medical history of the generation or two that came before them, which might provide something to check into, not necessarily a confirmation that something will happen, but at least a tip-off that a patient should be aware of that information so they can be thinking about how to take care of themselves and what to observe as they go along in their life?
It's always good to have to know the history of your relatives and to make sure your primary care physician knows it as well, for signs that he may look at something. But Alzheimer's disease has never been proven to be genetic, but it's always good to make sure that your primary care physician is aware of the health of your relatives as well.
If it's not necessarily genetic in nature, then what are some of the possible triggers that may cause that to happen as you understand them?
Lifestyles. Genetics can take a small role, but lifestyles, how individuals live their lifestyles, we always encourage people to live healthy lifestyles and, don't smoke. Make sure you get enough sleep, limit or reduce alcohol consumption or drug abuse at all. These are all factors that can lead to cognitive impairment.
As far as a person's lifestyle is concerned, does it seem to make any difference at all how active in their mind a person is? Because I guess what I'm wondering is if a person is constantly probing the world and constantly curious and constantly reading or watching media that bring the world around them to their presence or notice. In other words, they're keeping their mind and attention span active. Can that potentially have any impact at all, or is it just wishful thinking or unsubstantiated speculation?
It's been proven to have a significant impact on individuals. Living a healthy lifestyle is so critically important for better aging. We encourage individuals to keep their body and heart healthy through nutritious diets, physical activity, and social connection. It's so critically important that individuals, all this can help promote brain health and wellness, and it's so critically important that individuals, without even knowing it, stay socially active because they're exercising their brain.
Yeah, because I've known older people who lived by themselves and didn't get much stimulation, and they just kind of became couch potatoes. I say that with a certain level of sadness in my own heart that they did not have the kind of contact with the rest of the people around them in a way that perhaps would have been more helpful.
Yeah, it's so important because isolation is something we never, ever advocate for anybody living with Alzheimer's disease or anybody. But, challenging your brain, whether it's, taking up a new hobby, learning to speak a foreign language, cooking class, or even ballroom dancing is something that's so critically important. But you can even exercise your brain with simple things such as brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand.
Thank you so much for spending some time with me at this time of the day, sir.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me on.
My thanks to Chuck Fuschillo from the Alzheimer's Foundation for being my guest on these 2 days of broadcast. For further information, call us at 860-346-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Paul Kretschmer on the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 FM WIHS.